Have you ever noticed that there aren't many people living in Wyoming? Some people aren't even sure that the cowboy state really exists. Wyoming has the fewest people, but is the 10th largest state. This can only mean that there is something wrong with the place, but there isn't just one big reason why people don't want to live there. Reason number 10. Some of the roughest landscape in the United States is in Wyoming. The state is a big plateau that is broken up by mountain ranges. The Wind River Mountains are there. In the northeast part of the state, there is the Bellefuge River Valley. Owl Creek, Wind River, and the Teton Range are just a few of the mountain ranges in Wyoming. In the north-central part of the state, there are the Bighorn Mountains, and in the northeast, there are the Black Hills Sierra Madre Range. Rough terrain can be overcome today, but in the early days when the population was growing, these mountain ranges and rough terrain kept a lot of settlers from making Wyoming their home. Reason number 9. Bad storms. The weather in Wyoming is pretty bad. Wyoming is known for having very cold winters because it has so many mountains, and most places in the state get a lot of snow. Snow is only part of the problem. Wyoming is known for its wind, which blows an average of 21.5 miles per hour. Wyoming has the second most wind of any U.S. state. Wyoming has a semi-arid continental climate that is drier and windier than the rest of the country. Because of this, when you look at the 10 states with the lowest average temperature, Wyoming has the biggest temperature swings. It is 28 degrees Fahrenheit in Alaska, North Dakota 41. Maine is 41.9 and Minnesota is 41.8. Wyoming has an average temperature of 42.3 degrees, making it the 5th coldest state in the U.S. Once you get past the cold, the summers aren't too bad, at least until wildfire season when the air quality gets really bad and you have to worry about your ranch burning to the ground. The wind keeps blowing during wildfire season, which helps the fires spread. The weather has kept a lot of people away from this state over the years, or if they did move there. Reason number 8. No big cities. If you don't have big cities, it kind of hurts your growth. It's just one less thing that people look for when they're looking for a new place to live. Some people do need a big city for their jobs, but that's becoming less and less of a thing now that people can work from home. The whole Los Angeles metro area now has about 13 million people living there. In Portland, Oregon, there are about 641,000 people. 711,000 people live in Denver, which is not too far from Wyoming. About 3 million people live in the metro area of Denver. Salt Lake City is the closest big city to Wyoming. The city itself has more than 200,000 people, and the metro area has about 1.2 million people. Cheyenne is the biggest city in Wyoming. It has a population of 65,000 people, and that's all of them. The next largest cities are Casper, with 58,000 people, Gillette, with 32,000 people, Laramie, with 31,000 people, and Rock Springs, with 23,000 people. They don't have many people living here. 7th, even though it's a big state, not all of the land is open to homesteaders and developers. Massive farms own a lot of land in Wyoming. Reservations for American Indians, government buildings, and the U.S. energy companies own a lot of Wyoming. Does this mean there aren't enough places to live? No. What this means is that big companies that build whole towns and other things don't have as many choices as they might say in Montana. This has slowed their growth over the years in places like South Dakota and North Dakota. Number 6, they have a major water problem. You wouldn't think so this far north, but Wyoming has a serious lack of surface water. Wyoming has had droughts for as long as anyone can remember. The University of Wyoming Water Resource Data System shows that the cowboy state has been in a moderate to serious drought since 1999. If the state starts building big towns or cities that keep growing, this will only make the problem worse. In case you didn't know, people need water for 3 things: drinking, bathing, and cooking. Number 5, lack of industries. Wyoming does have some industries, but they don't usually hire a lot of people. Wyoming's biggest industries are tourism, outdoor recreation, and farming. They have all the industries you can think of, but not on a large enough scale to bring in more people. They don't have a lot of manufacturing because they don't have big cities with a lot of people. They also don't have many restaurants or stores. Public schools are usually one of the biggest employers in any city, but they don't have huge cities with huge school districts like Los Angeles or Washington. They do have great schools and colleges, but there aren't many of them because there aren't many people. Reason number 4, it's really only for people who like to be outside. Yeah, Wyoming is known as a great place to hunt, fish, and hike. Camp, nature, and photography all happen in Wyoming, and a lot of people who like those things move there to be close to what they like to do. But not everyone likes those things, and if you move to Wyoming and you don't like being outside, you won't be able to enjoy the best thing about the state. Some people like to do things indoors in cities and such. More people in the US would rather live near a city than not. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with living near outdoor activities and forests and such, but most people in this country look at camping the same way they look at getting their wisdom teeth pulled. Wyoming is kind of like, yeah, we're fine. That doesn't mean they don't run those ads, but you never see them. They're not as busy as a lot of the other states. Most people don't know that if you live in California right now, you'll hear radio ads, see TV ads, and even see billboards trying to get you to move to Texas or Colorado. People who live in places like that in Arizona can't stand that so many Californians are moving there. They get mad at the Californians and say, why don't you get mad at your state and local officials who have programs to bring Californians and Californian businesses to your state? Wyoming doesn't do much of that. Number 2, low diversity. Wyoming is 92.5% white, and it doesn't have a lot of different kinds of communities. This has slowed Wyoming's growth, because many people can't find their own kinds of people and communities there. Some may say that some city or town in Wyoming has a strong this or that, but overall, and compared to other states, they really don't. This has really slowed down Wyoming's growth. Finally, reason number 1, there's no one to date. When you have fewer choices, you tend to date the same people. And in Wyoming, there's a good chance you could be related to someone you swipe right on. It's just a matter of the odds that it will happen eventually. Business Insider placed them 45th worst for dating opportunities, 15th worst for dating economics, and 41st worst for romance and fun. Overall, they were ranked as the 4th worst state for dating out of all 50. This has slowed the state's growth a lot. That's all for today's video. I hope you liked it and learned something from it. Wyoming is a great state, but a lot of things, especially in the beginning, slowed its growth, so it's behind every other state. But hey, if those things don't bother you, it's probably a great place to live. Have a good day.